Are you looking for a repeatable real estate investment strategy that can help you scale your real estate business quickly or slowly, depending on your investment needs, and doing so without the need for tons of money? This week on the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, we are going to break down the BRRRR real estate investment strategy. Hope you enjoy.
This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, the show that highlights Saskatchewan real estate. Looking to buy your first house, your next investment property? Subscribe to never miss an episode. Here's your host, Ron Caroni.
Welcome back. Whether you're new to the channel or have checked out past episodes, we always appreciate you showing some love by hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing this episode with your friends. As a thank you for watching and listening to the entire episode, I've included a real estate Easter egg at the end to help you with your next real estate purchase, specifically the BRRRR. Today, we are diving deep into that strategy that's gained significant popularity among real estate investors worldwide. It's the BRRRR strategy, which stands for Buy, Rehab, Rent, Refinance, and Repeat. Whether you're a seasoned investor or just getting started on your real estate journey, this is a tried and true method to building a real estate portfolio. But there are some very important steps you must follow, and I'm also going to include a little more information on the financing aspect of the BRRRR. Let's start with what exactly the BRRRR strategy is. Think of it as a 5-step process to maximize return on investment on a real estate purchase. Instead of buying a property and simply renting it out, BRRRR investors look to force appreciation through renovation and smart financing. Here's the basic rundown. Buy. Purchase a property ideally below market value. This often means finding distressed properties or motivated sellers. You'll hear a variety of strategies when it comes to the buy. You can find homes on the MLS through a realtor. You may work with a wholesaler who's going to find the properties for you, or you're going to actively search out these types of properties yourself by door knocking, doing mailouts. It also doesn't hurt to chat with your circle of people to let them know that you are looking for these types of properties and would be open to helping people with distressed homes. The rehab, renovate and repair the property to increase its market value. This isn't just about fixing broken things, but also about making upgrades that increase rent and value. At the core of the BRRRR strategy is the concept of forced appreciation. Instead of waiting for the market to naturally appreciate, which can be slow and unpredictable, you're actively increasing the property's value through a rehab. This means faster equity, higher rent rates, and more financial leverage. When picking a property to rehab, consider areas in Saskatchewan where small changes can lead to big returns. Maybe it's a property in a transitioning neighborhood or community. You can look back at past episodes as we talk about economic activity that's happening in places like Humboldt and Estevan, and maybe you're going to target areas like that. Or you're just looking for a home that needs some cosmetic upgrades that you know you're going to be able to refinance for a much higher value than what you're purchasing at. Once the property is in tip-top shape, rent it out at market rates. The goal is positive monthly cash flow. Finding good tenants is an important aspect of this strategy. Check out episode 130 with Aaron Wright, where we break down tips and tricks on securing good tenants. Okay, so after the rehab and securing tenants, refinance the property based on its new and improved value. By doing so, you can often pull out almost all of your initial investment. And here's where many investors find the magic of BRRRR or the destruction of the concept, the refinance step. After the rehab, when you've increased the property's value and have it rented out, lenders will typically be willing to refinance based on the new appraised value. Let's break down an example. Say you buy a property for $100,000 and spend another $20,000 on rehab. You've invested $120,000. After renovation, the property gets appraised at $160,000. When refinancing, if the bank allows you, most will let you go up to 80% loan to value. You'd get a loan for $128,000 after paying off any existing loans. You've almost recouped your entire initial investment, and now you're ready to repeat the process with those funds. If you want more info on refinancing a mortgage, check out episode 106 of the podcast. I've also left a link of that in the description of this episode for you to review it later. And lastly, use these funds from the refinance to start the process with a new property. And then we come to the final R, repeat. This is what makes BRRRR such a powerful wealth building strategy. Instead of parking your capital in one property, you're continually recycling it over time. This compounding effect can lead to exponential growth in your property portfolio. Imagine having 5, 10, or even 20 properties all generating positive cash flow and appreciating in value, and it all started with one smart investment. And now I'm going to switch into a little deeper dive on the financing aspect of BRRRRs, and it's, in my opinion, where you're going to either make your money or lose it. So number one, on the buy. So one of the issues that pops up when buying a BRRRR property is that it's commonly targeted for investment style that is a distressed property, something that needs a lot of work. Most home buyers are not going to take on a massive renovation, and neither are banks going to want to lend on properties that need considerable amounts of work. So where do you go? One place that someone can go is cash. Some investors have the capital available to purchase properties outright with cash, which can make the buying process quicker and potentially allow them to get better deals. Hard money lenders. These are private lenders who offer short-term, high-interest loans, and they are typically more flexible than traditional banks and will lend on deal values rather than borrowers' credit. Because of the higher interest rates, investors aim to pay off these loans off quickly, typically through refinancing after rehab. A lot of hard money lenders also charge fees based on the amount of money they're giving or the project that they're taking, so also factor that in. Private money. This can come from personal contacts, friends and family, or private investors. Terms are usually a little bit more flexible than hard money loans and can be negotiated on a deal-by-deal basis. And traditional banks. Some investors still use conventional financing to purchase properties. However, keeping in mind our earlier point that traditional and even alternative lenders do not like distressed properties. If you're a beginner investor, a bank or your traditional mortgage broker or credit union might be a great first stop, as the properties that you're looking to buy in your first BRRRR might not be a massive rehab. So you might be able to get away with your traditional lender. Talking about rehabs, not only do you need the funding for the purchase, but there's a good chance that you're going to need the funds for a renovation as well. So how are we going to fund a renovation? Self-financing. If the investor has enough capital, they may choose to finance the rehab out of pocket. They may do draws from their hard/private money lenders. Some hard or private money loans are structured so that the investor receives draws or distributions of funds based on completed stages of the rehab. This ensures that the renovation is proceeding as planned. Lines of credit. Some investors open up business or personal lines of credit to finance their rehabs. This can provide flexibility in terms of when and how much money is borrowed. Credit cards. While riskier due to high interest rates, some investors might use credit cards for certain rehab expenses, especially if they plan to refinance the property quickly. And if you were able to secure financing through a traditional lender, the funds for renovation might be coming from a purchase plus improvement mortgage. You can learn more about purchase plus improvement mortgages by checking out episode 46 of the podcast. I've also left a link of that in the description. A quick note, it's also important to factor in your holding costs in the rehab stage until you can get the property rented out. Up until the tenant moves in, you're going to have to carry all the costs of the project. Lastly, and most importantly, the refinance. The goal of refinancing is to replace the high interest short-term financing like hard money with a long-term lower interest mortgage and to recoup the initial down payment placed on the property. Most investors refinance with a conventional mortgage through their existing bank, a mortgage broker, or credit union. At most, you can refinance a property at an 80% loan to value, meaning 20% of the property's equity must stay behind. Now, here is your Easter egg pro tip for the BRRRR. Make sure before starting this process that you have the ability to refinance once all the dust is settled. Some investors start out a BRRRR without realizing they cannot qualify for a refinance even with good renters in place. This is why it is so important to build your lending relationships and be certain that you have an exit strategy. I've personally come across situations where investors were not able to refinance a BRRRR and in the end sold the property at a loss due to the high carrying costs of the short-term money they secured. The BRRRR strategy isn't without risks. Over-leveraging, unexpected rehab costs, or market downturns can put a dent in your plans. That's why it's crucial to conduct thorough due diligence before purchasing. Always budget more than you think you'll need for the rehab. Be conservative in your projections. Hey, thanks for checking out this episode of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast as we explored BRRRRs. If you found some value here and you really liked the episode, you're looking for more information just like this, Like this video, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to let us know in the comments if you need more information just like this, or if you have an idea for a future episode. If you are looking for help with your next purchase, renewal, or refinance, I am a licensed mortgage broker in the province, and I'd be more than happy to help you out. Until next week, I'm Ron Caroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional. Bye for now.